So one of the things you know about me, if you've seen any of my videos, is that I love campy 1980s professional wrestling. Ultimate Warrior, right? Shawn Michaels, Marty Jannetty, Hulkamania, the Macho Man, Randy Savage, all that era. It's fantastic. It's glorious. It's campy. It's silly. It's over the top, but I love it. One of the greatest days of my life was getting to go to professional wrestling school for a day, and then I realized this place is shady. I'm getting out of here, but it was fun. Got to do bumps in the ring, all that sort of stuff. Anyway, I've always wanted to play a game that somewhat takes some of that excitement from the WWE or WCW. I was a WCW guy to the core, not NWO. Evil. But takes that and puts it into a board game. Now, there's been other versions and games that take this concept and theme, but I wanted to take a look now at this game called Super Show, which gives us a feeling maybe of the Saturday Night Slam Masters, of the Sunday Night Main Event, of WrestleMania, of Starrcade, of Night of the Skywalkers, right? All these wonderful, classic, silly, bygone era things of wrestling, right? So let's take a look right now at this two-player card game called Super Show right now. This is Super Show. I mean, you can tell just from the front of the box, it's got that 80s flair to wrestling. I love that. So both sides get their own deck of cards that is specific to that character. So this one we have the Wreck and we have the Big Shot. Inside of this deck of cards are, first of all, a character card, which we'll go over in a minute, and then just 30 cards of different types of moves. You have, first of all, there are three main types of moves. You have leads, you have follow-ups, and you have leads, follow-ups, and finishers. Inside of these, though, you have different ones based on certain types of skills. So you have strikes, grapples, submission moves, all sorts of things. Plus you have ones that are stops. So if you have a card that says stop on it, you can use this to counter another player's move card when they play it. On your turn, what you're going to do is you're going to have 3 cards in your hand. You will then both roll the dice to see who's going to get to go for this turn. Now it's kind of interesting because there are no turns. It's whoever gets the upper hand of the dice gets to take their turn. So it's kind of an interesting concept. So both players roll their dice. You compare the two symbols that show up. So we have a blue one here and a green one here. Green stands for agility and blue stands for grapple. So you'll notice the Wreck has a 9 in grapple and the Big Shot has a 5 in agility. Whichever one has the higher number gets to take a turn. You'll take one of your 3 cards and you'll play it. You can play a lead at any time. You can only play a follow-up when you have played a lead, and you can only play a finisher when you've played a follow-up. So to play a card, you will play a card out there. Let's say just here's a lead submission. This is arm lock. It says draw 1 card for each other submission you have in play. So if you've got this out in play, you then don't draw anything for 1, but if you had another one sitting here and you played this, you would draw a card. You'll then do the same thing. You'll roll, and then whoever gets the upper hand gets to go. So there might be just a stretch of luck where one person doesn't even get to go at all. But if you think about it, that sounds unfair, but if you think about it, that's how wrestling works, right? It's one person gets the complete momentum upper hand. Think WrestleMania this year with John Cena and The Undertaker. It was a total puff match just so The Undertaker could get over, right? But that's what this game is about. It's about getting your moves out there. If the first person to get a lead and then a follow-up and then a pin from a submission, well, no, I'm sorry, not a submission, a lead, a follow-up, and then a finisher goes into the pin roll. And basically you will do a similar thing where one player will roll a dice, compared to their stats. So this makes me have a 10, which is strike. Then I'll roll, compare my numbers, and if I can beat that number, then I tap out. If I don't, I kick out. If I don't kick out, then the crowd level goes up, which makes it harder and harder to win the game. So that's pretty much it as far as how to play the game. But I wanted to show you something really interesting. All of the cards feature art from the move that's showing. So you have the crossbow here, diving takedown, bow and arrow. So some of these more generic, some old school ones. You have spinning side slam, back body drop, punch. ICU is a finish submission. So this is one of the character's submission finishers. You have just a normal headlock, scoop slam, face stretch, chop to the chest, a la the Giant. Chicken wing, leg locks, arm bars, flying knee strikes, big boot to the face, sambo suplex, surfboard stretch, elbow strikes, neck breaker, drop toe hold, flying body press, forearm shot, the head on collision, kick, hip toss, lock up, Superman punch, and the arm lock. Now, why did I go through those? Because both characters have different sets. And if you look through here, you have other moves. You have things like a bear hug and a drop toe hold. then you have, let's see, I'm trying to find if there's I think there's even a bulldog in here. So you have a ton of different moves. And if you're a wrestling fan, all of them, running lariat, all of them are featured visually on here. So that's a neat little feature they did by adding art for each wrestling move to actually have the actual what the move looks like in here. So that's a really cool thing that they did. So that's how the game plays. You have all these move cards, you have leads, you have follow-ups, and you have finishers, and you roll to see whose turn it is. And honestly, full disclosure, I thought I was going to not like this. I really did, because it just seemed like, something, the mechanic style, the type of game, I didn't think I was going to like it, but it turns out I love how this game plays. I think it's tense. First of all, it's fast. If it went any longer, it would not be fun. It's very fast, it's very tense, and it's exciting to roll and see maybe I'm going to get my strike is going to beat him. And you start playing it out in your mind. Well, wait a minute, I rolled a strike. My strike's higher than his submission, and therefore you start picturing in your mind, well, what just happened in the ring? You go for a headlock and you get a quick punch to the jaw, and then you start doing the chops on the chest, and the crowd starts counting it. It's a fun time, right? You start filling in the gaps in your mind, and that's really where the theme starts to take over. And no, it could be reskinned into something else. It could be reskinned into pony farming, and my pony farm has a better pony farm skill of brushing than yours does, but it doesn't matter. Something about this theme and the tenseness and the timing makes this work. So whoever rolls that dice obviously will be the one who gets to take a turn. They'll play a card. If it can be stopped, it gets stopped. If not, you keep going and re-roll again. But I love the permutations, and I haven't done the math on it, but the permutations of this are, I think there's 5 or 6 skills that everyone has. You're both rolling a 6-sided dice, and so these could, obviously it's a 1 in 6 chance of what you're going to get versus the one they're going to get. So I don't know if that's a 1 in 36 chance of them matching up everything. Anyway, it's a big number of combinations, and then you could roll your high one versus their low one, or you could roll your high one versus their high one, or your medium one versus. It's a lot of different combinations, and to me, I think that's a really cool mechanic to get the dice out there, to get your character out there, a way to see who's going to get a turn because of what you rolled, and I like that. I love this is my major love of this game, is that the art cards are not generic. They could have done lead, follow-up, and finisher, and it would have looked like a playtest game. But no, every single card, the art on every card is the actual move from professional wrestling. If it's a snapmare, it's someone doing a snapmare on there. If it's a running bulldog, it's someone doing a bulldog on there. If it's a DDT, it's somebody doing a DDT. Full Nelson, half Nelson, Cobra Crutch. Not a sharpshooter, and that's probably copyrighted, but I think they call it crossbow, and that's an old school crossbow stretch type deal. Tons and tons and tons of actual wrestling moves are on the actual wrestling moves. Sounds like a bit of an oxymoron, but actual wrestling moves are on these cards, and you get to see the art played out on it. I love it. I think that looks fantastic. My major ding for this is the rule book is really bad. It's just, it doesn't quite, like, you had to read quite a few times how to figure out what to do in a pinfall. Now somebody could come along and go, oh no, you're silly, that's not that hard to read. But I had to ding it for that. So all in all, a good, quick little filler game based in the wrestling thing. If you don't like wrestling, just skip this game completely. If you like wrestling and you like card games, especially quick card games, definitely pick up Super Show. This was a deck of the show and the Big Shot or something like that. But there's other characters you can play as. So I really hope this thing takes off. I enjoyed it. I liked it way more than I thought I would. I did not think I was going to like this game, but really enjoyed the Big Show or the Super Show right now. So take a look at that. See if you can find it. Get your hands on it. Really fun game. I'm Bryan Drake here on the Dice Tower. Hope you're having a fantastic new year. Until next time, I'll see you. Make sure to follow me, Twitter, Instagram, all that sort of stuff, at @TheLatestRetro. Until next time, we'll see you.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at DicetowerNetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching the Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is